Burnout is insanely common nowadays. And the way I see it is it's almost by design. Many of us live in societies across the world that make burnout the ultimate destination. We are isolated more than ever from one another. It is harder to build meaningful relationships. We're disconnected from nature. Many of us are finding ourselves in a spiritual battle, trying to just hang on to faith, where the Prophet ﷺ said there would come a time where holding on to your religion was like holding on to hot coal. We are in societies that prize productivity, that focus so much on what we can do for other people, and doesn't prize turning inward and taking time to be by yourself and do the work on yourself. Self-improvement is even capitalistic in the way that it is demonstrated and taught about, right? How much money can you have? How much muscle can you put on? Not how much security can you provide or how strong and healthy you can get. With that being said, we can talk all day about the problems, but let's talk about some solutions and ways to overcome burnout if you are experiencing it. Before I get into that, my name is Hannah. If you're new here, I am a PA. I practice medicine, and I'm also a trauma coach and healing coach for Muslim women. So I help Muslim women heal from trauma and create a new life ahead of them. If this is something that you're interested in, then you can always go to the links in my description to learn more about how you can work with me and the work that I do. This is going to be an unfiltered, unedited video throughout. It's probably going to be a longer video, but stick to the end because I really think that a lot of the things we talk about can help you. And most of us are not going to learn this elsewhere. So let's start off. If you see me looking to the side, it's just because I'm looking at my notes. And let's talk about burnout. First of all, what's burnout? You might have heard this, but what is burnout? So burnout is essentially a state of emotional, mental, physical, and additionally, in my opinion, spiritual exhaustion caused by excessive or prolonged stress, right? So we are going, and eventually we hit a wall. And when it happens, some things that you might feel is you might feel a sense of overwhelm. You might feel really insecure, emotionally drained, physically tired and fatigued. You might have difficulty sleeping. You might feel a sense of purposelessness, almost a sense of like impending doom. This is where people tend to find themselves having their quarter life crisis or their midlife crisis because you've been going up until this point and now you're forced to face with the fact that you can't keep going at the same rate and at the same level of energy that you used to be able to. With that being said, burnout is a horrible experience. I remember when I was feeling burned out, and I was honestly so shocked at how much can be taken from you in such a short period of time. Burnout doesn't happen in a single day. It's little by little and then all at once, right? It's you start noticing some signs that something is wrong, and then you don't pay attention to it as much. And eventually you just hit this wall where you wonder, how did I get to the peak of the burnout mountain without even realizing it? And so talking about solutions, the first one that I want to mention is taking a pause. Before burnout, there is a space of time where, again, the impending pinnacle of burnout is on its way, but we can identify it. And if we can catch burnout before it fully happens, in the pre-burnout stage, some might call it, we can do a lot. But most of us don't have this one necessary skill to be able to do that. And what is that skill? It's the ability to pause and really tune in to our mind-body connection. Let me tell you a concept or teach you a concept that is going to be revolutionary, truly, if you keep it in mind. And it's called the window of tolerance. The window of tolerance, think of it like a little window, think of it like a little square, is essentially the space where our nervous system is best equipped to deal with the stress of everyday life. It is a place where it just gives, our nervous system gives just enough arousal in the sense of us being able to focus and do what we need to do without it being overwhelming, without it causing raging anxiety or sending us into a depressive episode. And we want to stay in that window of tolerance. Burnout is a clear sign that you went out of that window of tolerance. And so to prevent burnout, which is the best cure, prevention is the best cure, is being able to tell when that window of tolerance is being stepped out of. Now, here's the thing. What about if you're already burnt out? Well, in that case, the theory still applies. You're out of your window of tolerance, And your window of tolerance when you get back into it is probably going to be smaller, meaning because you're burnt out, you're not going to be able to handle as much. It is really important that you start noticing and building that mind-body connection to tell when you are out of your window of tolerance. When you are informed about how your nervous system reacts, then you're much more apt and capable of taking steps to be able to reverse the burnout, or to at least not face the full consequences of it. So that's number one. Number two is, if you've already hit burnout, you understand and you know that you can't continue on like this. Now, it is very easy in situations of burnout to feel trapped. We call this learned helplessness. It's a conditioning that we do to ourselves where we convince ourselves through repeated situations that we're put in that there's no way out. But there are very few situations in life where you're truly, truly trapped. And with that being said, it's important to push back on that learned helplessness and think about how can you offload some of that stress? How can you make it so you bring yourself back into your window of tolerance and you help reduce the level of burden on yourself so you're not feeling the burnout as intensely? How can you offload duties to someone else? What can this look like? Let's give an example. Let's say you're a mother and you are charged with taking care of your kids day and night and it's feeling exhausting. It's time for you to start thinking about, okay, if I'm burned out like this, I'm not going to be able to take care of my children to the optimal level. Is there someone who can support me? Are there duties that I can pass on to my husband or my children's father if you're not married to the father of your children? Is there someone I can bring in to help? Are there things that I'm focusing on that are actually not that important that I can just let go of for this time being so that I'm not as tired? Is there certain people that I can say no to if I'm, constantly, let's say you're a mom who is super burnt out by raising her children, or maybe you have a child who has special needs, or maybe they get sick very often, and you're also someone who tries to volunteer a lot at the masjid, for example. Well, can you offload those duties of volunteering to someone else just in this season of your life so you can manage the burnout appropriately? Because nobody wins when you're exhausted. Let's say situation where you're a student and you're studying, right? You're studying and it's just, you're feeling so burnt out by all of the stress of school. I remember studying in university and then in PA school. It can be very overwhelming. You're expected to learn a lot. There's a lot of money riding on this. School is not cheap. Is there some duties you can offload to family members? Certain things that maybe chores you used to take care of at home that you're no longer doing? Or are there things that maybe you can delay? Maybe you want to fold your laundry for, you usually fold your laundry immediately, but you have a big exam coming up and you decide you're going to do it the day after the exam. These are examples of offloading duties. Really sit there and reflect. Not what can I do, but who can help me with this? And it might be that it's not someone you know. It might be hired help. Can you hire a cleaning service, right? Instead of getting on the floor and scrubbing, the tiles of the bathroom, which is going to end up taking you 2 hours, can you hire someone to do that for you? Do you have the finances to do it? If you have the finances, use it. What's next? The next thing to do in order to heal burnout is to reconnect. Now, here's the thing about burnout. It ends up feeling so overwhelming that we tend to fall apart and neglect a lot of the very healthy coping mechanisms we used to have. We tend not to do the things that are going to help us overcome the burnout. And so reconnecting with those things is really important, and it's important to do intentionally. The first thing that needs to be focused on is reconnecting with your relationship with Allah. Why do I say this? Because so often I've seen men and women who experience burnout completely let their relationship with Allah fall to the sidelines. And the thing about it is that in order to overcome burnout, you got to think of it like burnout is something, we say it's draining us. So almost think about it like you had a water bottle and you poked a hole in it and water is pouring out, right? It's draining out. Well, oh my Lord. You guys, Shaitan was working hard yesterday because I filmed 3 videos and one was 40 minutes long. This one was like 20 something minutes long. Another was almost 20 minutes long, and the sound failed. And it's super frustrating to have to deal with this because that's like an hour and a half of my time essentially wasted because I can't do anything to these videos if they don't have sound. So before I finish up with the voiceover, I hope you'll still keep watching. Just take a pause and make dua. Ya Allah, bless Hannah to never have a microphone malfunction or a camera malfunction ever again in her content making journey, so that she can get these videos out for us so she can benefit the ummah and not cry to herself to sleep because she's spending all this time trying to create content for you guys and it's not working. Please, somebody is giving me ayn. The devil is working hard, because the next thing that I was going to say, the analogy I was trying to make, is imagine that you had a water bottle and you stabbed it with a pen and it just starts draining and draining and draining. The water bottle is a vessel and our souls are a vessel. Our heart is a vessel. And if we're not pouring into it, then we're constantly being drained and not being replenished by the connection that we have with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And burnout is something, like I mentioned earlier, that's spiritual in nature as well. And I truly believe that if you allow the burnout to just go and you focus on everything else without spiritually replenishing yourself, you're going to keep finding yourself in burnout, because there's a never-ending source of, power and hope and just, pulling us through it. That is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and we need to be able to tap into that. That's one. Number two is you need to reconnect with the child version of you. So here's a thing that often happens in, burnout. We forget how to have fun. Y'all become so boring. You're so boring when you're burnt out. And I get it. It's like you don't want to do anything. You don't want to do anything difficult and strenuous and time consuming, and you don't want to do anything fun. But the playfulness aspect of us as humans is so important. In fact, there's literal research that looks at the most mentally healthy people across the world, and the thing that they have in common is that they are comfortable with being playful. I think about one experience that I recently had where my husband and I went to visit a family friend who had just come back from Hajj, or they'd come back from a trip and had gone to Hajj at that time as well. And they had these Nerf guns. If you guys remember the Nerf guns, it's like a play, whatever, and it shoots little foam bullets essentially. And I just looked at it and I picked it up, and the little kid in me just came out, and I just started, my husband and I just started shooting one another with it, and it was funny. And it's so easy to especially if you come from very proper cultures, to not have fun like that, to be so consumed about other people think of you. Oh my God, they're going to think I'm so immature. I spent too long in my life worrying about that. I don't care about it anymore. I'm going to do what's going to be best for my mental well-being and my health. And so be okay with having fun. If you don't know what's fun for you, think about the things that you used to really enjoy when you were a kid. Think about the things you used to really want to do when you were a kid that maybe you didn't have the finances for or the ability to access, and now you can access as an adult. That's always a fun thing. Some of you guys used to love water painting or coloring books, right? All of these things. Then go get those. Who cares if people think, oh, what are you doing? That's for kids. Who said it's for kids? You guys decided it was for kids. That doesn't mean that it's actually just for kids. Moving on. The last thing is healthy habits. Reconnect with your healthy habits. Again, we often let these healthy habits go. Going to the gym, going on walks, getting sunlight, drinking, water, eating healthy foods. We start to eat a lot of junk when we're sad. The carbs and, it's not good for your brain. It's not good for your blood sugar. It's not good for your overall health. So reconnect with those habits. Those healthy habits are supposed to be your foundation. You don't want your foundation collapsing in on yourself. You don't want your foundation just completely being annihilated because of the burnout. Maintain those healthy habits so that at the very least they're working in the background to get you right back where you need. What's the next thing you need to do to overcome burnout, to heal from burnout? This one is really powerful because it is such a simple thing to do, and it has a psychological benefit and a spiritual benefit. And there's so much data, there's so much research on the benefit of this. And this is practicing gratitude. Now, what does that mean when I say practicing gratitude? You hear it and you're like, oh, this sounds wish-washy. And what is it? What do you even do? Practicing gratitude means looking at your life, looking at the environment around you, and expressing how grateful you are for the things that you have in your life, especially those that you did not work to get. And the thing about it is when we do that, it literally rewires our brain away from the negativity bias that it has. A negativity bias is especially strong when you're burnt out. And it helps you to refocus on those things that are, one, either in your control, or two, are just beautiful aspects of life that you might have overlooked. And it helps you to build a mental resilience to be able to continue despite the hardship you have. It is so common when people get into such, really ugly places in our mental health that we become so negative and we complain about everything, and it's very draining. We don't realize how much it drains your your energy, your spiritual energy. It's really bad for you. And so practicing gratitude can look as simple as, for Muslims, we can say, Laka alhamd wa laka shukr ya Rab, for whatever. Oh Allah, all praise to you and all gratitude to you for what you have given me. There is several studies on this you can look into, but one that is really profound is that they had essentially, I think it was students that were being researched, and they just wrote down a few things they were grateful for every single night. How easy is it to come up with? I can give you 5 right now. I'm grateful for the fact that I have a roof overhead on my head. I'm grateful that I have a stomach that functions normally. I'm grateful that I can take a deep breath of clean air. I'm grateful that I'm living in an area that is safe. I'm grateful that I have fingers that literally bend and allow me to pick things up. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us that if you were to try to enumerate or count the blessings that He's given you, you'd never be able to count it. You would never be able to count it. There's plenty to be grateful for. So they had these students do this for 6 weeks, and they found a 30% reduction in depression symptoms. Now, here's the thing. You might hear this and you're not even realizing how statistically significant that is. I mean, going from, imagine you're at a 50% depression, you go down to 20. You're at a 60, you go down to 30%, right? Well, the point is that 30% reduction doing nothing but stating a few things that you're grateful for. These people weren't being told, in addition, go to therapy, in addition, start an antidepressant, or go on certain supplements, or start working out, or, spend more time with friends. All of these things that we know, are used to help manage depression. They literally were just told, say thank you, say you're grateful. And they got a 30% reduction. Do you understand that as a medical provider, when someone comes in and, they're prescribed an antidepressant, there is about a 50% chance that it might not work, and they have to wait 2 weeks for the effect to come through, and then we have to titrate their dose up to ensure that it's even therapeutic, meaning there's even an effect. There's no guarantee. And so you can literally have a 30% reduction just by the simplest, easiest task. Now, as Muslims, we actually take this even further because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us that those who are grateful, He will increase us. If you are grateful, I will increase you. I'm like 90% sure during Ramadan I did a video on this verse, so I won't go into it too deeply. But don't forget to practice gratitude. And if you if you are finding it hard because you're so stuck in your negativity bias and you're complaining all the time, make dua, ask Allah, Allahumma ij'alni min ash-shakirin. Oh Allah, make me from those who are thankful. Don't let yourself be from those who are ungrateful to Allah. Don't do it. Don't do it, sis. Don't do it, brother. It's not worth it. Wallahi. If Allah was to take these things away, we would be done for. So the next thing you need to do to overcome burnout is to set healthy boundaries. If you are running almost on empty, right? You're super stressed. You don't have much more to give. You can't just keep letting others tap into the little bit of energy you have left if you can help it. Now, I say this in my preface by acknowledging that some of you guys are going to be in a season of hardship where it's not as easy to offload the responsibilities you have. It's not as easy to set these strong boundaries. So they don't always have to be so darn strong. It doesn't always have to be, I'm tired and need rest, I'm not going out with you, or I'm not going to visit anybody for the next 6 months. It's not that. Also, that's not good. That's isolation. But setting gentle boundaries. Hey, I know I normally will say yes when people ask me of something, but I'm going to start setting a boundary where I say, let me see how I feel tomorrow. And I'll let you know if I can make it to this event or I can help you with this thing. It might look like there are people who are very draining to you mentally. They complain a lot, or they're insulting, or it's just a lot to manage. It might be that you stop hanging out with those people. Set boundaries that are going to protect your energy. The last point that I want to make is seek support. Seek support. Look for people who can help you. Here's the thing about it. If burnout is happening to you for the first time, you don't have healthy mental habits, you don't know how to navigate it, what do you think's going to happen if you try to just, what do they say? White fist it, blue fist it. What is that? White knuckle. That's the word. White knuckle it without any idea of what to actually do. Go to people who can help you. Go find a therapist. Go find a counselor. Go find a coach. If I have space, feel free to, again, links in the description to work with me. Find someone who can support you, who can help you build those habits. You would be shocked at the benefit, just insane. We are a communal species. Like Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created us to be a part of an ummah, to connect to people. We need people. And so if you can't figure it out, stop suffering on your own and start thinking about who can help me. And there's plenty of free content on the internet if you're not in a financial place to be able to hire someone to support you. That is fine. Make the intention to get there. But there's so much. Oh my gosh, there's so many therapists and so many coaches and so many just really wise people who share tips and tricks. Take it, apply it, try it for a few weeks, see what happens. Constantly be measuring your energy levels and seeing, are things getting better or worse? Ask questions, be inquisitive, be curious. And when you do all of these things, inshallah, you'll find yourself being pulled out of a place you didn't even know you could be pulled out of. With all of that being said, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you appreciate the fact that I just did a complete voiceover and spent way more time than I should have completing this video for you, please hit subscribe if you're not subscribed and leave a comment below. Thank you for those who let me know that the video was not working or the sound wasn't working in the original video, and I will see you next time, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum.